Welcome to the Geostrategic Podcast, your ongoing source for clear, structured updates on global geostrategic challenges. We explore the forces shaping global power, crisis hotspots, and how governments react, so you stay informed with less effort.
Today, we're looking at the immediate fallout from that big meeting.
The one between U.S. President Trump and Russia's Vladimir Putin.
Exactly. In Alaska, just last Friday, August 15th, 2025. It was highly anticipated.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this was their first face-to-face since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine started back in, February 2022.
Right. And President Trump went there with a pretty clear aim, didn't he? He wanted to get a ceasefire going.
Yeah, he'd even set that August 8th deadline, remember, and then pushed past it just to get this meeting locked in.
So, okay, all that buildup, all that focus, what actually happened? What came out of it?
Well, that's the interesting part, the short answer. It came from Trump himself. He just said, we didn't get there.
He didn't get there.
Yeah.
So, no deal.
No deal, no ceasefire, not even like a pause in the fighting.
Seriously. They kept attacking Ukraine during the talks.
That's right. Russian forces were active while the meeting was happening.
Okay. So that's what we're diving into today. It's not just about no deal being made.
Exactly. We need to unpack what this non-deal really tells us.
What it means for the war in Ukraine, obviously, but also for the U.S. strategy now and, well, the whole global picture.
And we're drawing on some really sharp, quick analysis from experts at the Atlantic Council. They reacted pretty much immediately.
Right. They're a nonpartisan foreign policy think tank focused on international cooperation. So our goal here is to give you a clearer sense of the complex dynamics, the strategies involved.
And crucially, what might happen next.
Okay, so let's dig in. Trump says didn't get there, but he also sounded kind of optimistic. Mentioned a call with NATO, with Zelensky.
Yeah, he did express some hope for the future. And Putin, interestingly, said he hoped those leaders wouldn't throw a wrench into things.
Throw a wrench into what, though? If nothing happened.
Well, into this nascent diplomatic process, as Putin called it. But yeah, the main takeaway is still no deal, no ceasefire, no real sign of progress. But, Daniel Fried, former U.S. ambassador, he's at the Atlantic Council. He made a key point. It could have been worse.
How so?
No dirty deal. Like, Trump didn't agree to anything that looked like surrendering Ukrainian territory.
Ah, okay. So relief in Kyiv and Europe.
Definitely. That was a big worry, and it didn't happen. So there's that.
But still, if there was no deal and the attacks continued, how could Putin possibly be smiling on his way home? John Herbst suggested that. Feels weird.
It does seem counterintuitive, doesn't it? But if you look at it from Putin's angle,
Okay.
He arguably met some tactical goals. First, Herbst points out he avoided any immediate, quote, severe consequences from the U.S. for not stopping the war.
Right. No new big hammer dropped right away.
Exactly. And second, this is important, Ola Shamshir, Ukraine's former ambassador to the U.S., he noted the optics, the high ceremony, the warm reception.
So just being there, being treated like a major player on the world stage.
Yes. It helps him break out of that diplomatic isolation he's been under. Ah, I see. So that's a win he can sell back home and internationally.
Absolutely. He can spin that as a victory, regardless of the substance.
So the win wasn't about peace. It was about perception and maybe buying time.
Pretty much. Philippe Dickinson from the Foreign Policy Research Institute, he called it the Treading Water Summit.
Treading water,
Yeah.
being just staying afloat.
Yeah. Putin got to share the stage, use some flattery, talk vaguely about, respecting Ukrainian security. Words Shamshur called deeply cynical, by the way.
Cynical because he's still attacking them.
Precisely. So Dickinson argues this meaningless talk helps Putin stave off immediate pressure, like new sanctions.
And that stalling lets him.
Continue the war. Keep throwing human beings into the meat grinder, as Dickinson put it graphically. Keep trying to grab more Ukrainian land bit by bit.
Grim. Okay, let's switch to Chunt's perspective for a moment. Leslie Shedd said he put his own political capital on the line. What was his approach? Why didn't it work to get that ceasefire? Well, Shedd saw the talks as positive in the sense that they happened, but not conclusive. More like a first step.
A preliminary step.
Yeah. And Trump did sound hopeful, right? Even talked about maybe a follow-up meeting between Putin and Zelensky.
But he also issued a warning.
He did. Shedd noted Trump said he'd give Putin a little bit of leeway, but expects severe consequences if Putin tries to, quote, jerk him around and slow roll progress.
Interesting phrasing. Did Shedd offer any other reasons why it was so tough?
She did bring up the battlefield situation. She suggested that the previous Biden administration's alleged slow rolling of weapons to Ukraine.
For like 2.5 years.
Right. That maybe created a perfect environment for Putin's forces to entrench themselves.
Giving Putin an advantage. More leverage in talks like these.
That's Shed's argument, yeah. A battlefield advantage.
Okay, that's one perspective on the challenges. Did Daniel Fried see other factors?
Fried had a slightly different take. He suggested Trump might have rushed into the meeting based on a mistaken assumption.
What kind of assumption?
That Putin was actually ready for peace on terms other than Ukraine basically surrendering.
And where would that mistaken assumption come from?
Well, Fried floats two possibilities. Maybe Special Envoy Steve Witkoff misunderstood something, or maybe Putin deliberately misled them.
Deception.
It's possible. So when Trump got there and faced Putin's, stonewalling, lectures on history, or other dodges, as Fried puts it.
He just backed off the pressure he'd threatened.
He backed away again, yeah, suggesting Putin just wasn't playing ball on the terms Trump hoped for.
Got it. Now, what about this whole business angle? Putin brought business figures, talked about U.S.-Russia opportunities. Was that serious? Or just smoke and mirrors?
Edward Verona at the Atlantic Council is pretty blunt about this. He says, don't be fooled.
Okay.
His take is that Putin probably figured he could appeal to Trump's fondness for announcing big business deals.
Hoping Trump might offer concessions on territory in exchange.
That seems to be the calculation Verona points to. But he says the bait failed.
Why wouldn't it work, even if Trump was interested?
Well, Verona lays it out. Even if U.S. sanctions were somehow eased, European sanctions would likely stay. That creates huge legal and financial risks for companies.
The EU factor.
Right. And beyond that, there's the massive reputational damage. Doing business in a country accused of war crimes, Verona says that'd be unacceptable for most major firms.
Plus the general business environment there.
Exactly. He points out that corruption is endemic. It's just not a reliable place to invest right now.
Okay, so the business angle was likely a non-starter. Given that diplomacy didn't deliver the ceasefire, what do the experts say should happen now? Where's the leverage?
Well, John Herbst doesn't mince words. If Putin gave no real concessions, he says the response needs to be very quick and comprehensive.
Meaning?
Massive sanctions on Russia and the dispatch of a major U.S. arms package paid for by Europe to Ukraine. Strong stuff.
Wow. Paid for by Europe. Interesting. What about Daniel Fried?
Fried suggests Trump could finally do what he threatened, put real pressure on Russia's economy, especially hitting their oil money.
Squeeze the oil revenue.
Yeah. And he also suggests backing Ukraine with more weapons, maybe using lend-lease arrangements.
A lease, like in World War II.
Yeah.
Loaning or leasing equipment.
Exactly. It could speed things up and maybe navigate around some funding issues.
So the theme seems to be dial up the pressure significantly.
That's definitely the consensus among these experts. Philip Dickinson says flat out, Putin will only respond to strength and pressure.
And he wants Europe to push Trump on this.
Yeah, push Trump to actually apply his own peace through strength idea by ramping up collective pressure, military, diplomatic, and economic.
It sounds like they think the West holds more cards than it's playing.
Melinda Herring puts it very directly. Trump can squeeze the Russians. He seems to forget that the United States holds the cards, not Moscow.
A powerful reminder. Okay, so despite all this diplomacy, all the talk, the maneuvers, what's the absolute core issue that just doesn't seem to change?
Yeah, Melinda Herring brings us back to the stark reality here. She says the most telling thing was actually from Putin himself.
What did he say?
He said the root causes behind the war remain the same.
The root causes, meaning his original justifications.
Exactly. Herring interprets this very clearly. Putin's fundamental position hasn't budged. For him, Ukrainians aren't real people. Their language is fake.
He still believes that.
That's what his statement implies, according to Herring. He's still intent on destroying a sovereign and democratic nation that deserves U.S. sympathy and support.
Wow. So that fundamental belief, it's still the main obstacle.
It seems to be the deeply intractable core of it all, yeah.
Okay. So we've really unpacked a lot here about that Alaska meeting.
Yeah.
We went way past just the headline of no deal.
Yeah, you've heard why Putin might actually see it as a tactical win, the optics, the stalling.
Right. And we looked at Trump's approach, determined, but facing huge challenges, both on the battlefield and, well, with Putin's own stance.
And we've heard the experts' calls for a much stronger pressure-based response now from the U.S. and its allies.
So here's something to really think about. Despite all that high-level diplomacy, the intense focus on just getting a ceasefire.
Putin himself says the root causes, his fundamental reasons for this war, haven't changed at all.
So consider what that means. If his basic view of Ukraine, its right to exist, is unchanged, what does that imply for any future talks?
How can you actually build lasting peace when one side seems so fixed on denying the other's very legitimacy? It's a tough question.
Definitely something to mull over.
Thanks for tuning in. If you found this discussion valuable, please like, share, and subscribe to the Geostrategic podcast for more in-depth analysis on topics that shape our world. Stay informed, stay ahead, and stay tuned for the next episode.